Madden 19 is a bad game. An embarrassing game. Madden has been in decline for over a decade. Somehow, the PlayStation 2 Maddens had more depth than Madden 19. Madden 19 is also a joke when compared to any other major sports game on the market. Madden 19's gameplay can't even imitate real football accurately. Games from a decade ago do a better job at that. It's also unstable and riddled with bugs. Keep watching if you don't believe me, because the more casual players and those new to the series have no idea what they are missing. This video is structured in 7 parts. Stick around because near the end I have the very first interview with Rex Dickson, former creative director of Madden since he left EA in 2018. It's really tough to believe that Madden 19 has less depth than Maddens from over a decade ago. I mean, all the major critics praise Madden 19 out of the gate for having a deep offline experience. Some even say the best ever. Less depth than the other major sports games? No way! 2K? They suck now, haven't you heard? Let's start with all the features that used to be in Madden and no longer are. Training camp, playing the Pro Bowl, restricted free agency, contract holdouts, offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators. You can play the Senior Bowl, rookie workouts during the scouting combine that unlock detailed scouting reports, former players becoming coaches to hire, sign players to a customized contract length and amount during the season, position battles during preseason, create a team mode, including creating a team when relocating, create any team colors, uniform, city name, etc. No limits. Want to create a team called the Philadelphia Foreskin? You can! Now, a common misconception going around online is that the NFL asked EA to remove Create a Team, and that it's not EA's fault that the feature got removed. Not true. This stems from 2 sources, one a Sports Illustrated article, and another an interview with a Madden 19 producer. In the Sports Illustrated article, it mentions that the NFL didn't want players to change team uniforms, such as make the Raiders pink. So the solution was to have players create a new team from scratch using a selection of logos. This is exactly what Create a Team was. That says nothing about it getting removed. The other source is an interview where an EA producer, Ben Hamiller, says that EA works closely with the NFL on what can or can't be in the game. That is the most broad quote out there, and in the context he used it, he was referring to the Raiders moving to Las Vegas. That has nothing to do with Create a Team. Nothing at all. Apparently this is good enough for most people online. I made a Reddit post pointing this out on Madden, but many people still don't know this and accept it as fact. I reached out to Rex Dickson and asked him, just to be safe, and he said this wasn't the case, and it was due more to technology or a lack of resources. That sounds like an excuse, but it wasn't the NFL who removed this feature. It was EA. They just didn't feel like putting it into the newer games. So don't go and blame the NFL for that. You can blame EA. The ability to see what team a player played for while looking at their career stats by season. Historic teams, NFL Superstar mode, think My Career, Tournament mode with Sweet 16 brackets that you can fully customize with or without a fantasy draft, Fantasy Football mode, Situation mode, Rival History and Rival Stat tracking, Total Control Simulation, upgrade stadiums physically and cosmetically, jump into any game in the franchise whether your team is in the game or not. For example, if you miss the Super Bowl, you can play it anyway. Create a play, player morale, end-of-year financial statements, opponent scouting, The Tony Bruno Show, licensed newspapers with headlines of news, coin toss, mouth guards, export franchise rosters, import created teams into franchise, start a franchise with a created team or 32 created teams. Want to recreate the AAF? Go for it. View Pro Bowl voting when it opens and see it change each week based on how players perform. A dedicated retirement screen. In Madden 19, if a player retires, there's no way to tell unless you go to a very specific menu, and the only way you would go to that is if you notice the player is missing in the first place. And after the preseason, you can't even view this anymore. You can take sponsorship deals to rename your stadium and to make extra revenue throughout the season. Live opponents. This was a feature where if you're playing a franchise and don't want to play CPU, a random player can join for one game and play you without actually being part of the league. Custom fans in the stands, expansion draft, injury rehab, player roles, local media contracts. Now we're going to look at NFL 2K5, a game from over 15 years ago, and the last licensed 2K football game. This game had pre-game, halftime, post-game, and weekly SportsCenter shows with Chris Berman going over highlights at halftime, showing highlights of games you didn't even play at the end of the week, giving retired players a career retrospective, Trey Wingo going over free agent signings, Mel Kiper Jr. grading each team's NFL draft picks, and more. immersion that is still unrivaled. You could pay players to not retire and stay for one more year, weekly training where you could give injured players therapy or surgery, increase Eli Manning's agility by giving him ballerina lessons, or yelling at the team during an angry team meeting. You could also play the Pro Bowl. You had the Crib, where you had a house you could decorate by earning achievements in-game. You can play versus B-list celebrities to gain points to spend. You can buy air hockey tables, paper football tables, for mini-games, as well as historic teams and unlockable fantasy NFL players, such as a 100 overall Chris Berman. You had ESPN 25th Anniversary mode, where you could replay classic moments in NFL history, playoff stat tracking in franchise mode, VIP system. The game tracked everything you did from carries outside left, to 2-point attempts, to completions right deep. It then creates a profile based on how you play that you can assign to the CPU and basically play an AI version of yourself. You could share your VIP file with friends and play each other without even being there. Every coach in the game had their own custom VIP profile as well, so when you played NFL teams, they played exactly how they did in real life. Fantasy draft and play now, cheerleaders with physics, realign divisions and conferences, edit draft classes, which is a brand new feature added to Madden 19 that was in NFL 2K5. Make contracts backloaded, front-loaded, and structure the contract any way you want. View prospects' college stats and GPA, first-person football, customized celebrations, game manual and reference guide teaching you about football. None of this is in Madden 19. 15 years later. Now, something I want to point out here is that 2K5 and older Maddens were not perfect games. They could be exploited and they had flaws that newer games have fixed. My point is not that these games are better in every way, but that these games had more to do. Games from over a decade ago should not have this many features that aren't in Madden 19. Madden 19 does have some advancements and improvements due to newer technology, but not nearly enough to counter all of these features that were once in football games and no longer are. All these features I just listed are no longer in the game. Do you want to see what a modern sports game is actually capable of? Let's look at NBA 2K19. People love to defend EA by saying 2K is worse, or question why people would want a 2K football game. Some argue that 2K's My Career mode makes them worse than Madden, since it has microtransactions in it, while Madden only has microtransactions in Ultimate Team. The flaw in this logic, however, is that Madden doesn't even have a career mode to monetize. I'll take one monetized My Career over not having the mode at all. You can play through a story similar to Long Shot in Madden, and then the world opens up, where Long Shot ends. You can continue to play through the NBA, or start playing various types of street ball online versus friends or strangers, or play at the local rec center, or work out at the gym, or go to Foot Locker to buy new shoes. You can invite friends to your house to play games like Horse or Around the World. Is the game mode perfect? No, but at least it exists. But where 2K really shines is in its franchise mode, My League. Anything that can happen in the NBA can happen in My League, and then some. This is where Madden is put to shame. In My League, you have full control over the entire league. Want to change the rules of the game during the offseason at an owner's meeting? For example, replace the draft lottery with a tournament where the winner gets the first pick? Go for it. You can override MVPs, retirements, first team All-Pros, second team All-Pros, and more if you don't agree with what the game decides. You can backload, frontload, add trade clauses, add player options, or alter the structure of any contract in any way, just like you would see in the NBA. You can create your own team and court from every small detail. You can change the ads in the stadium to the animations on the Jumbotron. You can upload your own logos for uniforms as well as download community-made ones. You have one-click stat tracking per player. You can look at everything from a player's morale, personality, loyalty, career stats, advanced career stats, game highs, season highs, injury history, and more. You can also view team stats and records, playoff and regular season included. You can also track every NBA champion and every NBA award from every single year in NBA history. Want to see the 2006 second team All-Pros? What about the Rookie of the Year in 2025 and the My League 50 years deep? Speaking of which, Madden's franchise mode can only go 30 years deep, while NBA 2K's My League mode can go 80 years deep. Do you want to view the entire NBA Hall of Fame by year of inductee? Compare this to Madden 19 stat tracking, and EA should be very embarrassed. You can hire entire staffs from general manager to assistant coaches to scouts. All staff members have different ratings that affect different parts of the game. Scouting Players gives you detailed reports as well as NBA player comparisons. The game features mock drafts from 3 different fictional sources as well as big boards that make the draft process so much more realistic and immersive. There's an expansion draft with up to 6 teams you can add to the league. You can play through the Summer League. It even has a My GM story mode, which is basically My League but with a story attached to it. You can assign and call up players from the G League. It has advanced NBA rules in depth such as bird rights, legal tampering period, waiver wire, and more. This is the kind of depth that would be equivalent to Madden having all the features it used to have, plus, say, the supplemental draft, compensatory picks, waiver wire, things like that, which will never happen. Madden has 2 announcers for every game. 2K19 has a rotation of color announcers during NBA games, as well as entire separate announcing teams for the Chinese League and the G League just in my career, and plenty more, but I don't want this video to go on for too long. So what can you do in Madden 19 again? Well, they finally added custom draft classes, a feature that's been in the 2K games for years, and was arguably already in Madden before when you could import draft classes from the NCAA games. It was also in NFL 2K5. Well, they changed the way you do certain things, like upgrade players. Same concept, just a new way to do it. They added some new depth chart positions, which was pretty cool. Standard online gameplay and tuning you would expect over a decade of development. And that's it. And it's still missing all the features I just listed. 15 years really brought a lot of advancements and improvements, huh? If it's in the game, it's in the game. Right, EA? Well, all I care about is gameplay. Depth doesn't matter to me. I play Madden for the football. The gameplay is actually so broken that Rex Dickson himself publicly tweeted that he approached EA with a plan to fix it, acknowledging that it needed to be fixed. And EA told him that it wasn't marketable, and they rejected his idea to fix the game. Here's an example of a common NFL play that Madden 19 is unable to create: a fade. A fade is thrown off of a 3-step drop, quickly thrown high and over the defender towards the back corner of the end zone. The receiver is either going to have to jump and make the grab, or the ball is going out of bounds. Here's an example of this play working beautifully in All Pro Football 2K8. This play cannot be intercepted. In Madden 19, this play cannot be done. The ball cannot arc in such a way off of a 3-step drop that it would land in the correct position. There is no animation for the receiver to catch a fade. Every pass is thrown too low, even if you lob the ball and hold L1 to high point it. I tried numerous times, and the only reason the play was ever successful was because the corner froze for a second, which is very realistic. Even when caught, the play is still not a fade. The receiver shouldn't be facing the ball. The receiver should be jumping up and catching the ball, facing the back of the end zone. What you see here in All Pro Football 2K8 cannot be replicated in Madden. Ryan Moody has a video on this same topic. I recommend checking out his channel to see breakdowns of Madden compared to real football. The low trajectory of the ball is also why interceptions are so common in this game. A quarterback's drop is very important in football. NFL 2K5 agrees. In Madden, you can take a 20-step drop and throw a dime. In 2K, they advise you to throw off the correct drop because otherwise the ball will come out wobbly and underthrown. In Madden, every pass is a perfect spiral. Because why would technology improve over 15 years? Blocked kicks are scripted in Madden 19. The blocked kick is determined before the snap. You can tell because on every blocked kick, if you do a replay, a defender will glitch for a split second before the snap. Maybe this is why Madden doesn't allow you to view replays in online games. On successful kicks, this doesn't happen. In All Pro Football 2K8, however, blocked kicks were organic and could come through the middle due to poor blocking. It actually felt like real football. If you run the same play all game, that isn't a football strategy. That's exploiting a broken game. Here's a montage of All Pro Football 2K8. Watch this smooth gameplay. Unlike Madden, 2K8 focused more on physics than animations, leading to more organic play development. This is what a football game should look like. And this game is 10 years old. If you haven't played 2K8 yet, I highly recommend you do. It was the last 2K football game, and thanks to the NFL and EA, it didn't have the NFL license, but it still has the best gameplay of any football game to date. 2K Football Now is a great channel that really tries to highlight and show what made 2K8 such a great game. I highly recommend you check him out. I think Reddit user the Golden Ratio 011235 said it best. People who learn football through Madden really don't know a lot about football because Madden does a poor job of executing it. This is unacceptable for a game in 2019. I was playing a game of franchise, and when the game went to overtime, I was faced with a looping animation. I couldn't do anything or progress the game. After 10 minutes, I reset the game and jumped back in. Same thing. I eventually had to start the game back at the first quarter, and this time I easily won. When the fourth quarter ended, the game got stuck in another animation. I simply could not finish this game. I ended up advancing the week and forcing myself a win. This pretty much ended my interest in that franchise. Another common glitch is that when someone blows out a team, something to 0, the game will give the other team the win after scoring 0 points all game. It's almost like EA doesn't even want you to play their game. This is probably them trying to push franchise players towards Ultimate Team to make them more money, if I'm going to start talking conspiracies. If that wasn't enough, here's a quick montage I made of Madden 19 glitches. You tell me if this game looks stable and worth $60. So how did Madden get this bad? In the glory days of sports gaming, competition was everywhere. Ever wonder why there is no more NFL 2K? Blame the NFL. After years of battling with EA's Madden franchise, Sega's ESPN NFL 2K5 released in 2004 for only $20, less than half the price of Madden 05. The game was arguably even better than Madden 05 at the time, even though Madden 05 was arguably peak Madden. Madden responded by lowering the price of their game to match, and the NFL said, "Hold up, we want to make as much money as possible. Stop lowering your prices. In fact, we have an idea. Only one company gets to make NFL games from now on. That way the game will always be listed at full price, because competition sucks." There was a bidding war between the different studios who made NFL games: Sega, EA, Midway, Microsoft. The NFL chose EA in the end due to the name recognition of Madden and the great, consistent quality of the game at the time. So now, since Madden is the only NFL game on the market, Electronic Arts has no incentive to improve. They can just slap the NFL logo on their game, and anyone who loves football has no choice but to buy this game, regardless of quality. If they want to play with their favorite team with the current players, they have to buy the newest Madden. The Madden name is marketed so well that it's synonymous with football, and every kid's parents will buy them the newest Madden at Christmas time, regardless of the quality. But how would they know, considering every major media source gave Madden 19 a high review? Yet even those who understand that the game has devolved to this sad state still buy it. Just look at any Madden online community or forum. They hate the game, yet they admit that they will just keep buying it because of their love for football and that there are no alternatives. EA can't lose. I personally went from playing Madden 08 on my GameCube and NFL 2K5 on my Xbox to Madden 19. I was really excited for what a football game could be in 2019. I went in blind, and it was worse than what I had. I had less stuff to do in the game, I had a more glitchy game, I had less authentic gameplay. It was the biggest disappointment in my gaming career. There will be people who dislike this video and assume I'm wrong and crazy without even watching it, especially Ultimate Team fanatics. For those who don't know, Madden includes a game mode called Ultimate Team, which allows players to pay real money to buy packs just to have a chance of pulling a good player out of the pack to use online versus other people. Yes, gambling. In fact, Belgium banned this mode by law because in most countries, including the US, underage gambling is considered illegal, and most of Madden's player base is underage. But according to EA and all the other companies that use this model, it's anything but gambling. Of course, these companies are going to lie since this mode is their top moneymaker. Back to my point, people spend a ton of money on this mode in order to have the best possible team and experience that great, euphoric feeling of beating people online. So, when these people spend $1,000 on a video game, only to have to start over completely in the next year's version of Madden, they have the tendency to defend their purchase. No one wants to admit that they just blew $1,000 on a bad game, so they defend the game and defend EA, usually with arguments like, "The game isn't bad, you are just bad, learn to play better." I posted a thread in the Ultimate Team subreddit genuinely asking people why they enjoy the game mode and why they enjoy spending their money on it, and I got annihilated. Some of them made comments that defied space and time. They sure love Madden, or at least trick themselves into thinking they do. I believe it's a case of Stockholm Syndrome. But what about the other sports games? They have an Ultimate Team too. 2K is microtransactions in its career mode. 2K is worse. As I mentioned before, when comparing Madden 19 and NBA 2K19, while other sports games and video games in general do include these monetized game modes, they also offer a deep, non-monetized offline experience that's actually worth paying $60 for, because these studios actually take pride in their work. Madden doesn't, but they used to. There are other people who defend Madden as well. Some people like to say franchise mode is great and deep. Usually it's the people who never played a Madden older than Madden 16. There are plenty of examples of people saying stuff like this. It's just bizarre. Luckily, however, it seems like more and more players have started to catch on to EA. Just check out the comments under anything Madden posts online. I had an interview with Rex Dickson, creative director of the Madden series from 2012 to 2018. After our interview, he wondered how EA would respond to his first interview since leaving the company. Here it is. Take what you want from it. He did not elaborate as much as I would have liked based on the questions I asked, but I did get some new information. If you want to play Madden, I believe you should only spend your $60 if the game deserves it. Madden 20 is going to come out soon, and luckily for you, I made the buying process way easier. In the description I have a link to download this cool checklist you can print out, and if you can check all the boxes off, then Madden is worth buying. If not, save your money. Is it really worth buying the game if you're just going to complain about how trash it is the whole time? Just keep playing whichever version of Madden you already own. Chances are it'll either have more features than the current one, or be nearly the exact same game.